Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pull Up 3. I am Paragon Don,
I'm Janae.
And I'm Jay Trent.
and today we will be talking about the Phoenix Mercury with a very special guest, Maddie. Maddie, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell the class about what you do, how you got involved in the space, things of that nature.
Yeah, sorry. I literally just started coughing, thinking about how horrible the Phoenix Mercury season was. Jeez Louise. Um, oh my gosh. This is so embarrassing. I don't know what just happened. Hi, I'm Maddy. How did I get involved in this space? Well, when I was a kid, I tried all the sports my mom wanted me to try, every sport. So I did basketball. I was literally the worst basketball player you could possibly imagine. I'm not joking. So I was not very fond of the sport. I did not take a liking to it at that time. I was also like, I had a really late growth spurt. So I was like, there's pictures of like our huddles, and I'm no joke, like a foot shorter than everybody else. It looks like I'm like a little sister. Um, anyways, I was into a lot of other sports. I wasn't really ever good at sports that required hand-eye coordination. So I was like a runner, but I always liked watching sports. I didn't really watch the WNBA that much growing up, to be honest. Um, but when I got older and I went to college in Seattle, I became like a real Storm fan. And then the last like few years, really since like the pandemic, honestly, I like got a league pass subscription and really just like decided to commit and like got into W Twitter. And then I was like just really hooked. And honestly, it just has gone on from there. And I went to my first WNBA game when I moved to Phoenix. And it was like, I literally cried. It was like the best experience ever. I was so just like happy. It was also like the game that I went to was the BG's first home game back. So it was like a very emotional experience just in general. But I was like, oh my God, this is like such a truly special community that I don't think like really exists on that scale any other any other place. Like I had never been in an environment with that many like queer people, that many just like it just like felt like a safe environment. Um, and so yeah, that's pretty much I don't know if that really answered your question,
No, it definitely did.
but yeah.
It definitely did. So you're a Seattle Storm fan.
So I'm like a I I am a Storm fan and a Mercury fan, which people are like, you can't do that. And to that I say, I do whatever I want. So I'm a Storm fan and a Mercury fan. I'm very dedicated to the cause.
I feel like because they're not longtime rivals, I don't necessarily see the issue. Uh, if if they was like real big ops, I'd be like, yeah, that's nasty. But like, I kind of get it. I can't be mad at that. So did you go to the All-Star game in Phoenix?
I did, yeah. It was
Okay,
amazing.
I did as well. Now I was sitting where Jesus was, but I was there.
Oh, me too. I was literally in I'm not even joking, the very last row of the arena. But I felt
Same.
like the view was great. Yeah, I
I
thought the
could
view was
see,
great.
and that is all that matters. But I was sitting the wall that's at the very top. That was my row.
Same.
I could touch the top of the thing.
We might have been neighbors.
It's, life is crazy. Um,
It really is.
well, getting into Phoenix again, they've had a very interesting season. What are some things before we get into the things that we disliked? Because honestly, I feel like there's more things to list that we disliked than liked. What are some of the things that you liked about the way things went, or some even some players? Because I know for me, Kalia being there made Phoenix like at least watchable. And
Yeah.
when she was on, she was easily one of the best players in the W. Like top five material. At one point, she was in MVP combos. Like she looked phenomenal all year. So, what are some of the things that you enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the roster, I was excited about the roster that they built. I was excited about the moves that they made. Obviously, like that the Phoenix, ownership here has been making decisive moves to go all in on their basketball teams. And like as a fan, I love that. So I was really excited about adding Ka. I was really excited about Josh Cloud and Rebecca Allen. It was like a bummer because obviously she missed a lot of time with injury. But I think the roster, I was like excited about the what they built. I think, I mean, there were improvements across the board. I think it's kind of hard to gauge on the one hand because the roster like was so different. So it's like not really fair to be like, oh, they improved so much from last year and they made the playoffs. Oh, well, yeah, last year was kind of a joke and they tanked intentionally and then traded their pick away. So I don't know about how much like I want to really attribute that, but I mean, you can't deny the fact that they were better on both ends of the floor across the board. That's mostly what I can. I mean, they did, at the beginning of the season, like I feel like early on you could see when they were healthy, like, oh, there is like sort of a vision here. They're gonna jack up a bunch of threes and like try to play this like sort of NBA style offense. Um, and they beat the Aces. So then everyone was like, well, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. And then, you know, we saw how that happened and what happened. So I don't know. I mean, that's not really a positive. That's not really a
Embarrassing.
positive, but it's catching a stray.
Embarrassing. I remember that first game I thought we was about to lose before Jackie had like 20 points in the second quarter. I was like, yeah, if we lose to these niggas, it might be over. And Jackie and Asia had like 30 each, and I was like, maybe they are serious. They weren't, but I was like, maybe they could be.
That is so funny.
So, um, would you like to get on your soapbox and tell us the things that you did not like about the Mercury season?
I would love to. And we can start off with chief issue number one, which was obviously who they hired as head coach. I was
Girl,
not pleased with that
dad.
decision. I was not pleased with I was not pleased with any of that at all. Especially, I felt like honestly they did Nikki Blue real dirty. And I understand that she had a poor record and whatever, but she did a lot better than Vanessa Nygaard and wasn't racist to her players. So, I mean, listen, I don't know. That was started off with a bad taste in my mouth about that situation. I was not pleased. And like honestly, in terms of just pure basketball, like I didn't hate everything he did, but like they hired a guy who had no experience coaching women's basketball, and that was very apparent at times. It felt like Diana Taurasi and Taj were grabbing the clipboard from him and like being like, this is what you have to do. He didn't know how to use his damn timeouts. Are we allowed to swear on here? Um,
Yes. Oh my goodness
yeah,
gracious.
it
Yes.
was so that was frustrating for me, but so that's chief issue number one. I did not appreciate that. We need some help. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. We need some help in terms of the big rotation. I love Natasha Mack, and I think what she did this year was incredible for real. Um, but you need to fortify that center rotation. So I think that's sort of an issue that they have on the with their men's team as well. It felt like sort of they were just repeating um the same cycle, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so that was an issue, I think. I also felt like I liked what he was doing at times with like trying to switch up. He was having Tosh guard bigs all the time. that's cool. Like, but it like I don't know why we're trying to do that like as much as he was trying to do that. It felt like that's kind of a thing that you're supposed to do, like, when you need to do it. But he was just like, let's just hammer, yeah, let's have Tosh guard Alyssa Thomas for a whole game. And I'm like, that's not maybe really the best winning strategy, but what do I know? So I think those are my issues. I'm fine with them mortgaging the future and giving up Camila Cardoso for an all-in championship type of roster. And I think Tosh Cloud and Beck Allen are definitely pieces that could be on a championship roster. But I think what concerns me is their gauge, the front office and their gauge in general on what a winning roster in the WNBA actually looks like. Because I think they are because of where they are coming from. And I think this is sort of the problem that more WNBA teams are maybe going to run into is as they're getting more leadership from the NBA, they're trying to implement these NBA offenses, which are great in some aspects, but the personnel in the WNBA is not quite there yet. Like post play is still very much alive and well in the WNBA. And thank the Lord for that because I rue the day that they start taking away post play in the WNBA. So that's my soapbox.
It's funny you mentioned the differences in how it's still very obvious that there's still differences in the game. One, because it made me think about one of my friends, Sam, he tweeted like, yeah, I get to watch when I'm watching the W, I get to watch like beautiful post play, and now the NBA is about to start, and I can't watch grown men who can't make entry passes. Um, and then two, what I would try to explain to my friends who are like engaging with the W through social media or just now starting to really get into it, especially when they were talking in regards to like Angel, um, when people would be like, "Oh, rebounds aren't that big of a deal," and I'm like, this league is so much more big oriented that rebounds are so much bigger in this league compared to the NBA. Like, if you look at the numbers of who led the league in the W for rebounds the past like 5 years, it's always basically the best players in the league. Like it's always Asia, Alyssa, Nneka, Jonquel, Stewie. It's some list of that. And you may have like one other person up there, but like it's always the best players in the league for the most part. And then even in the 90s and the 80s when things were more post-oriented in the NBA, like the people who led the leagues in the rebounds, it was always David Robinson, Hakeem, Shaq, things of that nature. Like rebounds are important because the best players in the league are bigs. So if you don't stop a possession, they gonna keep scoring. So yeah, I think when we did our season rankings, I don't think any of us had Phoenix that high as far as what our expectations of them were. Jay had them the highest at seventh, which I think is what they actually ended up being. Um, but still, it's like watching them and what their expectations were, and then what they ended up being. It was like, this is kind of nasty. And I really do. Again, I really don't like blaming coaches because you just never know what goes into coaching, what they try to do, what goes on in practices, what goes on in the locker room, blah, 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 blah. But I think with the circumstances that Girl Dad was hired with, and then what ended up happening with that roster, it's kind of hard not to look at him and be like, God, you.
It's
Well,
clear that I was gonna say it's clear that they were trying to find a Becky Hammon. It was clear that that's what they were going for because they said, oh well, she came from the NBA. She was in this, specific system. She can implement that, and we'll just bring in all of this talent, and he'll just make it work.
Them niggas found a
And
Darvin Ham.
uh,
Rip to that man.
and it's one of the things where not to say that they misfired because maybe they didn't, but I think there was I think the continuity of the roster was an underrated. It was like something that they didn't really think of because it was similar to it was they made an all-in move like the Liberty did last year when they traded for JJ and they brought Stewie and they brought in Sloot. It was like it was an attempt to look at the two teams that were in the finals and say, okay, so how do we do that? And they just started bringing in these pieces and bringing in this coach, and there's a reason that that all-in approach doesn't yield immediate results. But with the roster being the way it is, with Diana Taurasi being 42, BG being 34, like this was clearly is this gonna be our year? And from the outside looking in, it felt like everyone could tell like, I don't know if that's gonna do it. Because the continuity has to be there. And you can tell that they didn't have that. So maybe another year with, a retool here and there can bring something like that for them, but it was never gonna be we just gonna we'll bring all these pieces together and it'll be perfect in year one because that's an unrealistic expectation.
That Chrysler
That's what
look
they
like a
expected.
Phantom until a Phantom pull up.
Y'all are being hella generous to them because they were dead wrong. And like they they were dead wrong. But when we talked about free agency like months ago, I was like, this shit not gonna work because you got, despite them, this is not to be shady because they're all good players, but you gathered a bunch of people that like are not used to being the star. Like Ka was supposed to be the star in Chicago, and she said, I don't want to do that shit. So she came over here so she didn't have to do it. Natasha was not the star in Washington. Beck Allen was not the star. Like all of these people are complementary pieces who need a superstar. And quite frankly, your superstar is Diana Taurasi. Y'all's already not off to a good start. Like we love the longevity, 20 years in, 10,000 points, the real GOAT in the gym, all that. But your superstar being 42 is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy and it don't make sense. And even trying to make it BG, like I think BG worked well previously because she had like a Brianna Turner who like will rebound, will screen, will kind of do all the heavy lifting. So all BG gotta really do is offense. Like BG don't want to play. Like we every time we watch her, we like, girl, you couldn't get more than 6 rebounds. You're the biggest bitch on the floor. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just saying, like, is like I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, so did as a group, did we come together and be like, yeah, so BGR Asia, gonna be like y'all didn't like we didn't do this right. And then to like they tried with Monique. She was a great addition. I liked Kiki. I liked Natasha Mack. Like they traded Suge. Like y'all ain't even have a bench, and y'all knew these ladies won't finna play. Like if, you think fucking BG wanted to run for 40 minutes? Like that could not have been the game plan. Like you walked in and said, yeah, we gonna shoot 43s. Who? Who on the team is about to shoot the 43s? Like, hello? Like, very seriously, they did not think about their shit before they got in there. And then like that's the problem with teams like trying to go all in it's like you kind of got to think about the personnel. You know what I'm saying? Like Diana Taurasi can be the go all she wants, but she is not putting your team on your back for 40 games. She got you for at least 10. 10. And if that 10 on the same day that Kyle putting you on her back, y'all have already lost now. Like you've already lost. So um two thumbs down to them. You know what I'm saying?
The
This
worst
though.
the worst part is Diana Taurasi played a career high 36 games last season. She played 36 games. That woman played, they had that elderly, that was literally elder abuse, we were calling it at the end of the season. They had that lady out there for 36 games for nothing just to get swept in round one. Like, are you joking me? And the worst part also, I hate to keep bringing up, the men's basketball, but like we had literally just gone through a year, the exact same shit right before this. They literally did the same exact thing. They said, we're going to get Kevin Durant and we can't beat Jokic in the playoffs. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get Yusuf Nurkic and Drew Eubanks. That'll solve it. That'll do it. That'll do it. And then they said we're going to shoot 43s when they had three of the most mid-range players of all time. They said we're going to shoot 43s a game. They never did. And then they said, you know what? That didn't really work out. We got swept in the first round by Minnesota. You know what we should do? Whole thing all over again. Let's do it all again and put them through another 40, 42 games of pain and suffering.
Yeah,
And now
no,
here we are again.
yeah, they were dead wrong. Like I just don't think like I really just want to know like what the GM was thinking when they was like Ka, Beck, Allen, and Natasha Cloud are gonna send us over the edge. Like,
They weren't thinking because they thought they were going to get NECA and Sky and well, they didn't think they were going to get Skylar because that was obviously, but they thought they were gonna do something different. Like Ka and Toph were not their first choices for the situation. Like Ka was like that was like a later.
consolation
They
prize.
were scrambling.
yeah, she and it sponsored by her being like, "Get me the fuck out of Chicago. I do not want to be
Exactly.
here with these
She
bitches."
was she was one to play anywhere. She would have
And
played in Kazakhstan if they gave her a contract. But
yeah,
justice for my girl Skylar. Uh, she seems happy in Seattle.
Amen.
But I think what also it seemed like when I think of the Mercury, I think they were scared of the idea of wasting Diana and BG's last couple years, or I don't know how much longer BG is gonna play, but I think they were definitely scared of wasting Diana's. Like they didn't want to, because to me, after that season that they had and all the stuff with Skylar and stuff, like we gotta start this show from scratch. Like yeah,
mhm.
everybody going somewhere. And if you still here, if you have played more than 8 years in W and you still here, you are a mentor. Yeah. That playing over 15 minutes shit is done. You're a mentor. Uh, we would have had to retool and start everything from scratch. But it's just like I think they were like, we don't want to do her like that because she's our GOAT and she's arguably the greatest player ever, and we want her to contend forever. But it's like it's just not
And
realistic.
honestly, at the end of the day, I'm fine with like I genuinely like at my heart, in my heart, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay if these years like we just in that sense, I'm fine with it. Like in my soul, if that's really the motivation, because I think it's a worthy cause, just knowing like I gotta be honest, like we don't have a lot of, we don't have a lot of positive sports history here in Arizona. So like we gotta take what we can get. And like we don't have much else, to like pride ourselves on. So like I'm fine if they want to go all in to let Diana Taurasi right off in the sunset. I am totally game with that. What bothered me is like the way that they were just super delusional about it, like you're saying. Like Like, I just they they just they could have gone about it in a different way. Like it just didn't make sense to me why, if your idea is, well, we're gonna go in for a championship contending season, so you hire a brand new head coach who has not only never coached women, but has never been a professional level like head coach. He was a G League coach, but like at this,
They
that is
hired
the part that makes no sense.
they hired a man off the street, basically.
Yeah, like
This
and that's the part that kills me. It's like if your plan is okay, well, we're just going to put all of our chips in and just go in for Diana Taurasi. This is a loaded draft class, a historic potentially draft class, and we're going to sacrifice our third pick to go all in. I'm fine with that as a fan. I'm okay with that decision. But like you're saying, the personnel choice is confounding ultimately, and I just think they were delusional, like genuinely about what I think that's what it comes down to. Like they were delusional about what they were going to get out of the people. They're like, well, we have a finals MVP and BG is like all these, has all these accolades and she's done all this and like blah blah blah. And I mean, I saw people at the beginning of the season who were like, this is going to be BG's MVP season. Like finally, like no offense to BG. I love BG, but like I think that's the problem. Delusion.
Respectfully, of course. But yeah,
No,
I agree.
because she need to do better. Like I'm tired. She gotta do better. Like I just be wanting to know, like, would they be telling, like when they walked into the locker room the first time, like, what did he say as like a group? Like, what did he say to like guys? We going to the championship. Like, how did that conversation go? Because when we talked about it months ago, I was like, I would be shocked if they made the playoffs, like 7 seed on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. Um, but they should have known it was gonna be bad when their press release for Girl Dad was like the one of the main lines in it was like his dad was a head coach for women's basketball for like 30 years. I'm like, why do we care? We don't know him. We
one
ain't
of the
know
one of
nothing.
the one of the also thing was, which is why we call him Girl Dad, is that they were like, yeah, my boy been an assistant coach for a little minute, and he got two daughters. I don't give a fuck what he got. To be honest, he could have
Like, how is that gonna help
he
me?
could
Like,
have had
what
10
the
daughters.
hell?
That nigga ain't got no coaching experience. Actually, that nigga could have had a
Yeah, it's
football
just
team full of daughters. That nigga ain't got no coaching experience that I care about. Actually,
yeah, I felt like it was really I feel like everybody was kind of blindsided by the coaching decision because I don't think and then making him the W's highest paid coach on top of that. It
That
was
was like
just
this is what
like
I'm
the
saying.
like
Like,
it's just like so nobody in the front office understands optics. It was just like the optics on this are going to be so bad. Nobody was like, you know what? Maybe we should go about this a different way.
I just don't understand. Like, Phoenix has been a franchise for how long? Why is y'all PR so bad?
I
Why
just
is y'all PR so bad? I do not understand.
I
Well,
the
I, I think here's the thing. So they say, oh, you know how you overcome bad PR by winning. And that was the problem because they weren't doing that either. So that it just made it so much worse because now you got to look and be like, they really did that shit earlier this season, like in the offseason. Like I can't believe them. And they out here losing games too. They need to be ashamed.
optics is really the biggest thing because it's like he could have been the greatest X and O coach of all time, but it's like doesn't matter. Again, I'm trying to imagine being a woman in that locker room, and is the league. It's one, we just got out of a scandal. Not even out. We're kind of in a scandal already with a player who just left. We're in a league fighting for equal pay or equitable pay, not equal, equitable pay. and then you bring in a man as the highest paid coach in the league while we trying to get our coins. What is that? What are we doing? Why you do that? Like I just what is he like Jamae said, what does he say? And why would I care about it? Like when we go on to halftime and we down by 10, I'm like I'm just I know I'm gonna listen to him talk or I'll be listening to him talk and I'll just be pissed off. I'm like, you the highest paid coach. You making more money than Cheryl Reeve and Becky Hammond and all these other coaches, and we can't run no play, nothing. It's just I don't know. It's nasty. And then like you said with BG, I mean she rebound like Wimby. I
Not too much on my son. Not too much. Not too much. He
don't.
don't know that he's 7'4". He don't know. He
BG
don't
don't know
know.
she's 7'4" either. They the same.
She too old for that though. She too old for that. He, on the other hand, he's still a baby. He has time. He has time. Not too much on my kid. Not too much. To the optics thing though, it's like makes it even. It's it's funny in a derogatory way because they were like, you know what'll help our PR? Hiring Christy Tolliver. And I'm like, you're gonna put this woman who just ended this very storied WNBA career behind this man that we don't nobody know. We like people were more excited about Christy Tolliver. I feel like when they said, "Oh yeah, Christy Tolliver is gonna join the head coaching team," I think a lot of people was like, "Oh, at least somebody there." And it's like, why are we doing that? Why do we do that?
I feel like that was like when you remember that episode of SpongeBob when like Squirt was sticking a hand out and they wouldn't say nothing and then SpongeBob would and everybody would like cheer and I just feel like SpongeBob was Christy Tolliver like Nate Tibbs would put his hand out and people would just be like this guy stinks and then Christy Tolliver would put her hand out and they'd be like yeah like you should have been the coach this whole time.
Rip girl that.
Well, Maddie, let's get into the expansion draft. As you know, we can keep 6 players on the Mercury, um, or protect 6 players. Um, what 6 players would you be interested in picking? To me, I would probably only pick like 4 if I had a choice, but I don't. Uh,
Well, the thing is, there's only 4 players that we even have technically like on the roster. Genuinely. It's only 4. And they're all guards.
Yeah, because I
So,
just looked. I was just looking. I was like, I said, oh,
yeah, yeah.
DT, BG, Monique Billings are unrestricted free agents, and then exclusive rights. You got Kiki, Natasha Mack, Charisma Osborne, Amy Atwell. They're all exclusive rights free agents. So yeah, they don't. It's Slim Pickens over there. So
So I think Posh and Beck Allen, I think that's like the obvious. I'm not gonna protect that woman. I wish they would. They're gonna protect her, but I wish that they wouldn't. Um,
I'm very glad we all have a like an
You
understanding
shall not
of
be
not
named.
speaking.
no,
This is so great.
when we did when we did the expansion draft episode during like week 5 or 6 of the season, we got the Phoenix and we protected 5, and we were just like, y'all know what we got to do, right?
yeah, I think that's where I'm at. So I guess maybe I don't know who I would protect with the other. Maybe Kiki or maybe Natasha Mack. But honestly, I wouldn't hate it if they protected Charisma Osborne too, just because they did like technically draft her. Um, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I hate that they're not gonna like tell us who's
It's
protected. They're
and
not gonna reveal it.
yeah, I feel like they should just tell us because I feel like otherwise it's gonna get leaked anyway.
I said
And it's like
we just need Annie to be around one person, and we gonna get the info. I don't know who gonna be the source, but I can't wait because she's gonna release the tapes. Continue. My bad.
Oh, how did you feel about Celeste Taylor?
Oh, I love Celeste, my queen. Literally broke her nose, didn't even mention it. I love Celeste. I was glad that they claimed her. I would like to maybe see Celeste um back on the roster. I'm a fan. I mean she, plays hard defense, but I don't know. It's kind of it's just like a weird situation, you know what I mean? Because it's like on the one hand, but I guess like it doesn't hurt to protect them because ultimately that doesn't mean that you're not going to cut them later or whatever.
That is
Well,
interesting though, because I think they said if someone has been cored, you didn't have to protect them because they couldn't be picked up anyway, or something like that. They were saying that because I was thinking about like Connecticut. They were saying they didn't have to protect Breezy or DB because they've both been previously cored. Um, so like if they don't, I mean, I feel like if I'm Phoenix, I'm definitely keeping Celeste. I mean, if you don't have to protect BG and DG, like I'd keep Celeste and Kiki. I feel like and Natasha Mack because I feel like, or maybe Monique Billings. I don't even know. Can they protect her since she wasn't on the team? I mean, she's in the team
I
photo, so I feel
I
like
think I
good.
think you can protect one free agent. I think that's how it works. Well, I think each team can protect one free agent, and then the Valkyries can draft one free agent. So it's kind of complicated, honestly. But
obviously
Right.
I'm not the GM, but I think if you took a team photo at the end of the season, you should be eligible to be protected. You a team photo? That's so big. Like you went to the playoffs with me. You
that's like a
are
promise ring.
you are my team.
No, I do think it's funny that they wait till the end of the season to take team photos because it's like you don't know who's gonna be here. You might not be
You
here.
don't know who's gonna get traded. You don't know like anything could happen. Somebody could retire. Like we gonna wait until the last couple days to take this team photo. And if you're part of this team photo, you stuck.
That's so funny to me.
We locked in, twin.
That is so funny. I'm trying to find their team picture.
Well, while she looks for a team picture, Maddie, do you have any free agents that you would be interested in or things that pieces, or do you have like an archetype of player that you think would suit best in Phoenix at the moment?
Do I ever? Well, as I mentioned before, we only have four players who are technically like on the roster in terms of salary next season. So we have a lot of cap space, is what I'm getting at. We have like 700 plus $1,000 in cap space next year projected. So I would like to see them, might as well just go in more at this point. We've already got Call and Tosh on the roster. So perhaps some free agents like Alyssa Thomas and Luana Bonner would be interested in going to a team that has a brand new, very fancy facility. I don't know.
No, I'm just thinking
Maybe.
about that video of AT when they're like, I think did they take Team USA there or something? I don't know why she was there, but she was like, "Oh, this is so nice," and some fans was like, "Don't get too comfortable" in the comments.
All-Star weekend. It was All-Star weekend. They were doing a tour of it.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, it was nice, but I was cracking up.
It's funny because, as they know, I've been spreading the agenda of AT to the Wings. Um, but I think that AT to the Sun would fit perfectly. Like, do not get
You
me
mean
wrong. That is a
you
perfect
mean the
fit.
Mercury
The,
Or the
the
Mercury,
Mercury.
or
excuse me.
the
I keep doing that. I'm sorry. AT to the Mercury would fit perfectly. Her and DB. And I always say my biggest criticism with AT is that, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, I really think she needs someone who should be willing to take the ball out of her hands to get a bucket, and it shouldn't always be DB. I think Marina Mabrey being there helped, and the ascension of Dejanay helped with that. Um, but I think with if she comes to Phoenix, Ka would be a perfect person for that. The same way, another one of the main reasons why I felt like her going to wings would be perfect. Like Enrique is like, I need that ball actually. Like AT can be the best player on the court if she would like. But when it comes to I need this ball, I think she needs someone else who is willing to do that because I don't think teams are worried enough about what she's gonna do when the game is on the line. But if she has a Ka or even DT whenever she series or when she gets her HGH, um, or whatever. Like she has a lot more options, and I think the addition of Alyssa is like Alyssa and DB is automatically this is a championship contending team, like automatically. Or even if DT retires, that is automatically a championship contending team.
And Matt Ishbia is the kind of sicko who would do that shit and do it like he will get them, he will fly his private jet to go pick them up. Like, so I mean, that's what does give me some delusional hope because I do think like my delusion is that they're gonna come here and then DT is gonna decide to come back and for one more season and then her and DeWanna Bonner are gonna ride off into the sunset with one last banner. You know, that's like the ultimate dream.
No, I'm
Um,
actually a little scared that that might happen. Like when they had the 2014 thing, DT and DB are like one more year. Like, girl, don't be saying that. Like these people do not deserve nice things. Like, and she was smiling a little. DB was smiling a little too hard that weekend. I'm like, you enjoying yourself too much. Like, I know these are your people, but maybe not. Let's not.
Would you be interested in MBG coming back?
yeah, of course. I mean, it's like for me, this is like the problem with me why like I would for real. I mean, there's so many reasons why I would never make a good GM, obviously, but like I am way too emotional to like actually like so I would let BG come back no matter what the circumstances were. But yeah, I think BG is still a valuable player. It's just you have to be more willing to recognize like I need the GM who I was not happy with the GM hire either, to be clear. But I need the GM to be more aware of where BG is at and what BG's strengths and weaknesses are at this stage. And that's the issue, I think, is like more who are we going to put alongside BG? Because we were running a lot of Steve Curry and four guard lineups last year, and that is like also a concern that I do have.
I feel like
So we need some bigs.
your reasons for not being able to be a GM is the same as mine. If it was up to me, the Celtics would still have Marcus Smart. So I that nigga wouldn't be able to leave. He'd be stuck in handcuffs as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Amen.
So it's just I get too emotionally attached, and I'm like, damn, if I pull this trigger to trade you, I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night like ever again. So I get it. Um, so I'm imagining, okay, so DT, no, Natasha Cloud, DT, Ka, Alyssa, BG as a starting
And then you
line.
got Beck Allen off the bench.
With Beck Allen and
with
DB off the
with
bench.
DeWanna Bonner. Yeah.
And Celeste Taylor. all defense team, the whole team.
Now we're cooking.
Atlanta City.
That team would literally legally be not allowed to win until she who must not be named is gone. Like something has to be done.
Oh,
That
I mean, not to defend
something
her,
has to be done.
she needs to go to prison, but while she's still here, she is useful as
No,
I
no,
don't,
no, no.
you
She's
you might
she's
you might as well
you
put her out there.
might
I'm
you
not
gonna
gonna
keep
be
her. I
I'm not
mean,
gonna be it's just like I'm gonna shake my head every time she come in the game so everybody knows I don't agree.
imagine she hit a game winner and you just like, that's nasty, but yes.
no,
Yeah,
that
that
game
would be
she put up like
that would be a yeah, that would be a team that I would be not excited at all to put in my top four, but I would have to because that would be a top four
Automatically.
team.
And then Connecticut can retool before they come to Boston.
oh,
Is there anyone else other than Alyssa and DB? Do you have any consolation prizes in the free agency? I almost said in the draft.
I'm trying to think of who else is going to be
So you got people like
free
Brianna
agent who's a big.
Jones, Kelsey Mitchell, Cheyenne Parker,
I mean, Bree Jones, bring Bree Jones right over. I would love Bree Jones.
Izzy, uh,
Gabby, Emily Engsler, Maisha Hines Allen,
Sammy Whitcomb,
Maisha, bring Maisha over.
um,
Satu.
Natasha Howard, Awak,
I
Veronica
feel like
Burton.
Satu in some sick twist of fate, Satu's going to go to New York. And that's going to be real sick.
Actually,
I would become her biggest hater. I can't hold you. Like I can't even hold you. I'll become her biggest hater. That would be the net. We already talked about her going to the Fever, and it's like that's already kind of like I can see why you did this. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like New
Much.
York, you're being nasty, actually.
No, she wants to win a championship. Y'all saw that lady holding them bottles. She said, "This got to be me next year."
If she wants to hold some bottles, she can go to Rose Bar and play for the Mystics, actually.
Rose Bar is crazy.
She'd be the best player over there. Her, her and Jordan Poole gonna have to duke it out, but she'd be the best player in Washington by far.
for
It
sure.
it'd be her and then Alex R. But it's a pretty big gap between her and Alex R.
Rip to that man.
Um,
Ain't he? Is he French too?
Yes, they're all French. Everybody's French.
Starting a revolution.
it's gonna be crazy when they change the NBA to the International Basketball Association instead of just the National Basketball Association. Um, do you do you have any players in the draft that or the potentially the draft that you would be interested in? Or because y'all have what pick do y'all have?
12.
12. That's all in the whole draft. That's it.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you feel like your team because I have some teams that I feel like do not need to be using draft picks anymore. Like Dallas is on my list of teams that they should not be using any type of draft picks. Um, the Vegas, do not bring nobody else in here. You can make a trade for somebody, but don't you draft nobody else. Um, would you, if y'all are going in on win now, would you want to draft somebody or would you prefer to trade the pick for something else?
I mean, I'm fine if they trade the pick. I do think the one like sort of benefit about the WNBA is like the players are older. So I think it depends on like the kind of player that you want to draft. You can draft a player who I think can contribute like pretty early on, but like it has to be a specific kind of archetype, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like if you want to draft like a 3 and D type of player, if you want to draft a Raven Johnson, I don't think Raven Johnson will be there at 12 realistically. But you know, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I would be fine if they use the pick, but I also would not be upset if they get rid of it. Like I feel like I'm kind of like 50-50 if there's a trade, but I also don't know like exactly what you're going to get for pick number 12. But I don't know
Like,
how I don't know how GMs are gauging this draft either, or like how people view like how people are going to view the 12th pick, like the value of the 12th pick, you know?
right. Like right now, I'm looking at this mock draft, and it's it's November. Mock drafts are terrible, but this one has y'all taken Deanna Neepkins from Utah at 12. Raven Johnson is off the board in this scenario. They have her going to Minnesota at 11. So they would have y'all taking Deanna Neepkins, which is funny because we just talked about uh
Yesterday.
Jamae mentioned Neepkins as a potential target for Indiana when we talked about them. So um does she kind of fit that mold that you would be thinking of?
I mean, this is the thing that's also hard is it's like what exactly mold do you really are you really looking for? And I guess that does depend on like if you are able to get DB and AT on the roster, then really all you need is like, you know, backup point guard maybe situation, backup bigs, rotation, um, and like scorers. So I think, you know, drafting a shooter and a scorer would be like a shooting guard would be a good, you know, good option. But I think if you are going a different route, then obviously that changes a little bit. And if you wanted to try to draft a big like Raya Marshall or like I don't know somebody else who would still be available, but I feel like this is kind of like a guard heavy draft now that I'm thinking about it.
Hmm.
Um,
It is, yeah.
And you do not want
so
Rhea Marshall, Bookie. I want her.
so
I'm just saying, no shade to the girl. She's a very nice, she's actually hilarious, but her and BG, girl, no. Mm-mm.
so yeah,
Do not want both.
maybe trading the pick is ultimately the move. I don't know. I guess I'm just like so I feel like every my answer to every question about this offseason right now is just like I have no idea what is going to happen because I feel like so many players about to be on the move and these teams don't even have coaches
We got a draft lottery, and we got a
in a
team.
week.
We got a draft lottery in like 5 or 6 days. We got a team that don't have a GM that's in the lottery. So
Which team don't have a GM?
Washington.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dallas don't have a
them
coach.
niggas about to send a party promoter to the draft lottery.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know what they do.
At least all the coaching vacancies almost filled. Or maybe that's a lie. Who ain't got a coach right now? Could they have a coach?
Because
Dallas doesn't have a coach.
Washington, Dallas, Atlanta,
Ooh, I forgot about Atlanta.
uh,
LA still ain't got a coach.
LA,
They're
LA.
going to prison. I can't wait
that's
till we talk about them because they're going to prison. Wow.
Actually, LA really needs to be slandered more than any other team. There are definitely some slanderable teams, but like LA has done absolutely the damnedest job they could, and I mean that in a derogatory sense. Like them niggas are playing my GM. Like I think they're just trying to sim through seasons and see what happens. They're doing a trade simulator every day and just figuring like, well, let's just see. If this don't work out this season, it is what it is.
And their prospects are getting worse and worse and worse. Like they're in serious front row.
It felt like they were the first. It felt like they were one of the first teams
They were the first
to move
team.
on. Yeah,
How you start the madness and you still ain't got a coach? Like y'all are going to jail. Magic Johnson, lock him up. Cause he got up there and said, I'm gonna be so much more active. And then them folks ain't got a coach 3 months later? Prison. Yeah,
That boy is
prison.
not. No, that he talking about he gonna sit courtside more often.
that's what he mean by being more active. He mean in the Jerry Jones
He
type of
he
way.
he mean I'm gonna get up and go to a game. More active. That front office stuff. I didn't even know I was a part of that.
Prison.
Yeah.
I might watch a
Okay.
practice.
So I got a question for Maddie. Let's say DT retires and Phoenix decides to reshape the way that the roster looks. What would you want that team to look like?
Like reshape in terms of like they're
Like let's
deciding
say
to.
yeah, like let's say Kai's still there and let's say Tosh Cloud is still there. Everything else is up in the air. What do you envision that team looking like?
I mean, I think you gotta put somebody around just because I think the situation is it's like at this point, the just the way that the roster is and just like with Ka and Tosh sort of being who they are and where they are at this stage in their career, I feel like you can't just like try to do like a rebuild or a retool. Like you've got to just try to get some type of star, whoever that may be, to pair with those players because kind of to speak to what we were talking about earlier, like Ka and Taj Cloud are not here to want to like be superstars. They don't want to do the Jewel Lloyd average 30 points per game for the season. Like they don't really want to do that. And that's not really their game to do that. So I think you've got to get a score like whoever that is. And no matter the circumstances, even if you decide, oh, we're not going to fully championship contend, we tried to get 18 DB, but we couldn't, or they, whatever. If you decide, oh, we're just going to be a middling team again, then like that's fine. But you still have to, you got to try to get a a primary like score option. I think to put around those players because like pretty much like you were saying earlier, it's almost like I don't want to I feel like the term role player is like become like derogatory in a sense, but like you have almost like a a base roster of just role players at that point, and you've got to have somebody who is the offense can be built around or play through. And there are bigs in the W. I mean, Elena Deladon is still out there, in the ether. So like you know, there's there's options. There's people been coming out of retirement. So I don't know.
I don't have any players like that on my roster, so I don't really know.
Nah, y'all had enough motion to get Tip Hayes to be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not done in this town.
We better have Tip Hayes and EDD. We better just get a bunch of players who are like, actually, I thought I was gonna retire. I don't even feel like it no more. I just didn't want to play for the team I was on.
Which they need to start penalizing people for that. Like prioritization needs to include that. If you say you're retiring and you try to come back, half pay.
You
I don't,
gotta
they gotta
you
do
gotta
something
you gotta sit at least a year if you said you was
before
retiring.
you come back. Yeah, because he was wilding.
At least it's not
They
like, oh, go
they
ahead.
made them share a gym with a 2-year-old's birthday party in the playoffs. Practice for the playoffs. They made them share a gym with a 2-year-old. I would have said I am retiring too.
This what I'm saying. Connecticut got to get better PR. Like, look, y'all are already a small market. Y'all can't be a small market with bad PR. Just can't. We can't do it. We can't do it. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking about your question though, Jay, because I'm like, if I have Ka and Tosh, who would I put around them? Because obviously Ka becomes a superstar, right? But I'm trying to think of somebody that um, that's like Ka can be the superstar, but she definitely they're kind of like a two-man, two-woman show. Um, and my mind kind of goes to Kelsey Mitchell, but I don't know. I mean, they do have Ty Cloud, so if they can keep Kelsey Mitchell off ball, it kind of works. Um, but I don't want them to have nice things. So
Okay, well, let me look at. I'm gonna list off some free agents for the 2026 season. So let's say DT and BG retire, whatever, or like DT retires and BG goes somewhere else, and then you just have like 1 year of Ka and Tosh. In 2026, you have Jackie, Jewel, Arike, uh, Deerica, Asia, uh, Chelsea, Tierra, Azare, Jonquil Jones, Ezzy, Fee, uh, Benajelani, Courtney Williams, Alicia Gray. I guess it's a lot of really good
I
names.
was just I
everybody is
just
free agent. Good Lord.
and I just thought about 2026, the whole league finna be available. Because like everybody, well, most of the league at least signed their contracts with the intention of
Well,
cutting it
here
off
it
before the new
is.
CBA.
Yeah.
So there's like I feel like people still don't understand how much player movement there's gonna be.
And you're gonna have the two expansion teams. So like it's gonna like nothing is gonna look the same,
So
which kind
yeah,
of makes it crazy. Like if we could get Ka and Azare back together, I don't know, make a call to LA. They not being serious anyway.
I mean, I am with that plan.
Tosh,
I'm
Ka,
with that plan.
Azare, Kelsey Mitchell, and uh
who's a big that you can just plug in to be like we'll make this work.
Deerica?
Mm-mm.
Nah,
Mm-mm.
nah. The Erica is a little bit.
Uh,
Also,
Alana Smith is in this.
they did her so dirty. I mean,
Listen,
I don't know if she would want to come back
that's
here,
funny.
but
you
That's
know
funny.
what? No, that's a good point. Phoenix got too much bad blood with everybody. I was like, they could
Damn.
use Tina Charles. She not coming back.
and
Diamond, she
rightfully
not
Yeah,
coming
that's
back.
so.
what I said. I
Yeah.
was looking at. Yeah, I was looking. I can. Well, nah.
They was burning too many bridges. So yeah, y'all obviously getting real short. I don't know. Mm-mm-mm. But the class of 2023 will be all like grown by the end. So
Mhm.
I think Phoenix has the opportunity to take their lumps for 1 year, just make amends with the basketball gods and stink just 1 year, just be really fucking bad, and then get right immediately the year after. but they have to
That's what
sacrifice.
they tried to
Yeah.
do this
They
year.
that
They was
no, they
2023 was
No,
terrible.
no,
they have
they weren't trying to be bad.
they have to sacrifice DT in
They
order
weren't
to make
trying.
amends. If they don't sacrifice DT, it's not gonna be good.
Sacrifice is crazy.
They gotta send her to.
Rip.
They gotta put her in the put that wire hanger in the closet. Just go ahead, hang it up.
Or so they already put her name on the floor, so it's fine. Like she's already indebted to the organization before
Now
they went.
again, being a GM is hard, and I understand. If I personally was a GM, I probably would not be able to make certain decisions. But I think as a GM, you should say, if you don't retire, you are not playing here. You better figure it out.
But it's kind of like imagine saying that to Diana Taurasi. Like y'all was just
Right.
calling
And
me
it's
goat last year. Like y'all had a literal goat in here for me. You cannot say that to me. You already put me too high on the pedestal. I was here longer than everybody in the building. Like you can't really do her like that.
Like I
like
need you
y'all drafted.
I need you to just I will pay you under the table to retire. Actually, I will take whatever Olympics I get. I'll take some of our coaches' contract off the back end for you to just go ahead and sit down real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go ahead and get out of here, you know.
I mean, Gina was there in in that suit. So I don't know.
And
Felt
Brittany
it's
pretty.
funny.
Sykes is a free agent in 2026.
It's funny because like looking at that last home game, like it really felt like, oh, this is gonna be it. But I don't know. It feels like I don't know if there was a player to be like, nah, I'm gonna come back. It would be Diana Taurasi. Like I feel like she'd be that player to be like, nah, I got one more year. Y'all ain't finna just push me out.
But that's the thing, is like people are saying that she doesn't want a farewell tour. So I'm like, do I
See,
believe
that
that?
could
I don't
be.
know.
She better than me
I feel like
because
a lot of
I
the a
give you
lot of the I
praise
feel like a lot of the
everywhere I play, actually.
yeah, I feel like a lot of the basketball legends say that. They're like, oh, I don't want no farewell tour. I'm too humble.
I want
Like,
I want every arena to put up a highlight reel of me whooping your team's ass. Actually, put that up. When I walk into your town, I need you to show that video of me winning that championship on your floor, nigga. And I want gifts.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe she is done, but who knows?
I mean, I think it's less likely that she's done if AT and DB come back, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Now if that's
He's
yeah,
like,
if that's the case,
I think that's what it all depends on. Like,
yeah, she's like, you know what, I got one more in me.
no, I that's what I'm saying. I'm really scared that she like DB gonna be like, I'm gonna play next year. You gotta come back, and DT gonna be like, yeah, we're back. As we're back, and I'm like,
As long as she doesn't play in the Olympics, it's okay. They asked her would she play in another Olympics. She said, I don't know. I was like, please God, I need like you on this one.
Nah, ain't no way. Ain't no way. If it, like they would have to call her back from retirement in 2028 for her to be playing during
she
the
was like
Olympics. So
winking or whatever, and I was like, girl, don't wink. You need to close your eyes. Let's all actually close our eyes. We don't need to see any of that.
She really played 29 minutes a game last year.
yeah,
If Alyssa and
Actually,
DB come back this year to Phoenix, that number needs to go to like 18, maybe.
20. Yeah, I would say yeah.
Mm,
I
you
think
will
that's
be
what she wants for real, for real. She
if
said, y'all
you
come in here, I can help girl dad because he don't know what he doing. I'm thinking about
Yeah,
that. What
she's
was
gonna
that
be
game? What did they play? Who they played in double overtime? Was that Dallas?
Yes.
Yes.
Where Enrique's teammates wouldn't shoot the ball?
Yeah, but Ka had like hit like almost a buzzer beater. She had like 3 seconds on the clock or something.
Yeah.
And they was like, they was in the post game thing, they were asking Ka like, how did you feel when the coach said, you taking the shot? And she was like, oh, that play wasn't written for me. And I was like, what you mean? What you mean by that?
Oh yeah.
He wrote it for D. I wrote it for DT, and then DT was like, "No, Kyle, you shoot it." And then she took the shot, and I'm like, "This is supposed to be a feel good story, but I don't feel good about this."
But
Like,
like you supposed it was like you supposed to ride the hot hand. She clearly the one that got it and you not drawing up a play for her. All right.
like,
Like, all right.
It's
like
like they
she'll
it's
take
like
his job.
it's like they trying to do special treatment for her, and she's like, I don't want that shit. Give it to the person who has the most points. I have hit enough game winners in my career. Give Kyle the ball.
No, it's really funny because yeah.
Yeah, he's a dummy. I'm sorry, but he's just a dummy.
He's trying, I guess. We'll see. We'll see if they snatch Christy Tolliver from him.
Uh, how many years is his contract?
That's a good question.
Let's see.
I think it's a lot, and I think it's like 5 or something, I want to say.
5 years? Ooh, they really believed in him.
I don't see.
What's his name? Nate.
Nate Tibbetts.
Nate Tibbetts.
They didn't tell us. They won't tell us how
Yeah.
how many years it is.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't seen.
They won't tell us the official amount either.
Yeah, they just said more than 1 million per year.
oh, oh, okay. So they knew they was tripping when they made this. That's why they have not. It has never been this hard to find a salary for anybody.
I'm sorry.
Well, if they underperform again, I think Matt got enough money to be able to eat that million whatever dollars that he gave
Oh,
him.
he'll be gone real quick. They gave Monty Williams $70 million and then fired him. So
Yeah, so
he has no problem wasting all that money.
I was gonna spend that million on dinner, but I'll pay you with it. Like, pack your bags. Yeah. I really wonder what Nikki Blue is doing though. Like, where is she? I hope she's doing well.
I tried to look her up the other day and nothing came up. And I was like,
Yeah.
please. She was like, don't actually speak to me.
That's the new coach for the Dallas Wings.
You talking about don't Dallas don't need no picks. They gotta start over. They don't know what they doing over
Yeah.
there.
If
Yeah, they
If
about to
Satu leaves, I think they have to start over. I mean, she
yeah,
probably is
they about
gone,
to have
but
to.
Connecticut's going to be starting over.
yeah.
Wings going to be starting
Connecticut doesn't
over.
have a coach. That was the team that we didn't mention.
Damn.
And Connecticut, I think, is going to have I don't know about this year because I feel like everything is weird because like it's going to be a 1 year deal. So I feel like maybe, I don't know if people will be more willing to sign with other teams or what, but I don't know. I feel like in the long term, Connecticut's going to have real trouble attracting free agents and
Yeah.
talent.
If I'm just signing a
Yeah, I think
1 year
so too.
deal just to see how the things shape up in 2026, I unfortunately cannot bring myself to sign with Connecticut because if I have to share my court with
Don't do too
a
much,
birthday
Jonathan.
party,
Don't do too much.
I actually will crash out, to be completely honest with you.
It was a one-time thing.
No, bro.
See, the only
That's one too many.
I guess the only if you sign in Connecticut because there's no everything's up in the air with AT and DB. being free agents, and Bree Jones is a free agent. Like the whole team is up in the air. Like the only thing that you had to work go on is maybe I can just come and get my stats for a year, and then I can earn me some money somewhere else.
Not treating them like a mid-major. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
got to get it. They don't want to be put in that box.
If I have played in the W for like half a decade plus, if you don't have no practice facility, do not ask me to sign with your team for this 1 year. Because now I'm gonna block you actually. I, I'm gonna block you and I'm gonna hit your GM over the head with an anvil. Do not ask me to sign for you for no 1 year so I can have to share a practice facility. Because now you
Okay,
pissing me
but
off.
when they get to the CBA, maybe they'll say everybody has to get a facility.
Well, after 2026, and we sign these
No,
long-term
it's
deals. Oh
2025.
no, after 2025, when we sign these long-term deals, and it's like, okay, everyone's got to get one, and I can see the progress in it. By all means, I'll hold it down. But right now, and I just need 1 good year. Don't ask me none of that shit.
Y'all so strict.
Chicago
Y'all can
Sky,
y'all
you're
can
off.
share y'all can share
Chicago
a
Sky,
gym with
you're
the
off limits, buddy.
we need to be whacking them for that damn cake.
The cake, the practice facility, the ceremony. It ain't everything these niggas do. Who else team don't got a day on practice facility? The Wings, honestly, I probably can't even.
They moving to
Do the
Dallas next
dream,
year though, so you can't really whack them yet. Not yet.
Oh, the Wings.
the dream play. I know they share the arena with the G League team, so I don't think they got a facility either.
Well, the G League don't play
Yeah.
during y'all season though, right?
They don't, they don't. But still, it's like, come on now.
Mm.
But they play in the G League arena too. That's why it's so small.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I didn't even think about that. Y'all do play in a shoebox. I might have to forego that one. So yeah, I don't know. The Phoenix at least has a brand new court. I could see myself being like, you know what, I could live it up here. Here's some real nice stuff.
It actually looks very nice in there, like chic. I'm like, just look at a sauna, a pool, like.
It was real cute. I think we talked about this one in one of the episodes, but it was real cute when like Jewel was like, "This is for you," and DT was like, "This is for all of us." I was like, "Oh,
It's so
No,
cute.
I literally.
you're a bastard on the court, but you were so nice off it." Oh my God, you were just an adorable, mean old lady off the court. Like you were, it's so sweet. On the court, you're an asshole. Sorry to tell you, but off the court,
Oh my God.
she reminds me of what's her name for Abbott Elementary, the the teacher that's best
Yeah,
friends with Barbara.
yeah, yeah. I knew you meant.
Fucking what's her name? Her real name is Lisa. I can't think of her.
Uh-huh.
So that's
I
really
feel like
funny.
I should know that.
I don't know why I can't think of it right now. That's really funny though.
Well, Jay, would you like to say the line?
Oh yes, I believe that all hearts and minds are clear.
Well, again, Maddy, thank you very much. Yeah, we enjoyed your company very much. You are a wonderful guest. Um, I hope it's nice to meet a Phoenix Mercury fan that is like a good person because I wish the worst for them most of the time, but like a part of me wants good things to happen so you could be happy, but most of the time I need them to not be successful. But I will think about you when I slander them. Um, it's
This
like
is not
my
something you say to somebody. What the
It's like
world?
it's like my dad. I wish the worst for the Cowboys, except for my dad. My dad is like the only. My dad and my friend Kane are like the only two Cowboys fans. I'm like, I feel sorry for you, actually. Everyone else, I hope your day is bad. But yeah, This has been another episode of Pull Up Three. I am Paragon Don,
I'm Jamae.
I'm Jay Trent.
And I'm Maddie.
and we're out.